Mm.
But with volunteering, this is where volunteering and policy creation, I guess, meet at a head. Is that what's great about volunteering is uh, another aspect to this is, say, for example, there's a climate protest that the branch wants to get involved, or at least the Labour Party wants to get involved, and you go along to that. But what ends up happening is a rank and file movement out of that. That's kind of the reason why I got involved leading up until the state election to Labor's rank and file policy movement and all the current commitments that New South Wales State Labor have done to, um, keeping the stock of like public housing and at least looking to improve it. Like all of their policies with that was started from this rank and file movement. But what's interesting though is that we wouldn't have gotten the impetus, or we wouldn't have at least been able to stage a case at the New South Wales state conference, because really all policies, all emotions that are created in branches and go to the LEC, SEC, and FEC, they then go to the state conference where basically like in a parliament, they are collectively argued where people make arguments for and arguments against. And this policy rank and file public housing movement, we actually talk to the local community groups in the area. So Red Watch in Redfern, which is like a housing
Hmm.
community group.
Yep.
There's the Friends of Erskineville, which is again another housing group
Yep.
that's in the local area in
Are these like
uh,
community housing providers, social housing providers? Like what type of organizations are these?
no, these are basically community group local
Okay.
grassroots community groups that fight for public housing or social housing
Housing.
within
Right.
those areas. And the thing
Mm.
is, we had to speak to those groups. We had to speak to because I think there were established glebe residences that were public residences that the last New South Wales Liberal government was looking to knock down those residences in
Hmm.
order to create more flashy property
Right.
for property
Right.
developers. And
Yeah.
we by speaking to those residences and the community groups, we were able to at least create some sort of steam to lead to the state conference that, hey, maybe you shouldn't be knocking down these houses, and maybe you should be protecting this land for the community because it's
Wow.
important for the
Wow.
community.
So you're effectively saying that thanks to one of these shady Bolshevik meetings in a pub based on some type of door knocking and information collection from the actual community, then the branch was able to suggest policy that was suited to kind of protecting the interests of not only working people, but like the housing, which is an essential and a human right. They were able to protect public housing options within the local area because of that grassroots action. And they took that initiative and that policy creation idea to a state conference, which involves, I'm assuming, the caucus, so the main kind of
Mm,
political figures themselves, and then that policy issue was debated in
yes,
a forum.
yes,
And then, if it's debated and carried, is then put into the official agenda of the party at that state level and is now
yeah,
being carried potentially into actual policy.
yes, because there's basically two choices. Either we present it to the LEC, SEC, and FEC, and the caucus just decide, yeah, that's a really good idea, and we'll just implement it.
Hmm.
Or the harder route, which is um, either they support it in principle, and it doesn't end up happening, or you take it to the floor, you take it to the state conference floor, and you you fight it out. You have the yay sayers and you have the naysayers, and
And is it like a majority rules cup situation, or do some people
for
have veto power, or like how does it work?
well, that's where the delegates from all of the different branches come in. So, and I should also mention that with these sort of conferences, you not only have delegates that are from the Australian Labor Party, but you also have delegates from all the unions. Because
Right.
so, and without uh, without revealing too much, I can say that this public housing uh, motion would not have gotten off the floor if it wasn't for unions like the CFMEU.